Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Johnstad. I can't wait to have you in my class this year, and I want to tell you a little bit more about what math will look like this year in third grade. There's a few different components of math we'll be exploring this year, and I want to tell you about each of those components and explain them to you. I use this presentation so you can come back and reference it if you have any questions at home, and feel free to contact me. We'll go over that in the last part. The first part of math this year is the part that you're already familiar with. It's the Bridges curriculum. And in Bridges, there's two different components. The first component is Number Corner. And in Number Corner, it's a monthly calendar, and each month has a different theme and games around a certain topic. Some of the topics we'll be exploring are measurement, geometry, and fractions. And this is a way that we can encourage the students to notice patterns and justify what they think might come next. The other part of Bridges is the daily lessons in Bridges. Some of the state standards that we'll be covering this year in Bridges is a deeper number sense, especially with addition and subtraction, adding and subtracting larger numbers. Geometry, looking at two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes. Also discussing things such as parallel lines and perpendicular lines, right angles, obtuse angles, and acute angles. We'll be looking at multiplication and division and using a variety of strategies to solve multiplication and division problems. And finally, ending the year looking at fractions. Another component of math this year will be something called 3-act tasks. 3-act tasks are a whole group activity consisting of 3 different parts. The first part is an engaging Act 1. The second part is an information and solution seeking Act 2. And the third part is a solution and discussion Act 3. A little bit more about each of these acts. Act 1 is usually a visual representation, either a picture or a video, where we can start to wonder and notice. I'll be asking the students, what do you notice and what do you wonder, and have them make an estimate around a question. For example, this one would be, how many cases of soda does it take to make this display for the Olympics? Act 2, we would be making an estimate, and I'd be giving students any additional information they've decided that they need to solve the task. This is where we wonder, how can we solve this question? And students work together or individually to come up with different strategies to solve the problem. In Act 3, we come back together and we compare our different strategies and results. This allows students to use a variety of strategies that they are most comfortable with. We talk about how reasonable was your estimate, what worked, and what might you do differently next time. Another component of math this year will be technology. Some of the different technology we'll be using in math is the Dreambox application that students had access to last year. They'll also have access to it again this year. Students should be using Dreambox about 2 to 3 times a week in class, as well as at home. They will have access at home if you choose to have your students work on Dreambox at home. Another component of technology we'll be using this year is called augmented reality. This is a really great way to take flat ideas and make them come to life and make them 3D for students. A great example of this will be when we're talking about geometry. Augmented reality is a way to give students iPads so that pictures of different shapes pop up and come to life for them to explore and identify different parts of those shapes. Another component of technology we'll be using this year is QR codes. QR codes are a scannable technology. As you can see here, there's addition problems for the students to solve. Once they've solved the problems, they can scan with a QR code reader on an iPad to see if they came to the correct solution. These are just a few different pieces of technology that we'll be using this year in third grade math. Another component we'll be doing about 3 times a week is called But Why Does It Work? But Why Does It Work is a series of pictures, such as the problems laid out here for you, where there's different addition sentences. Students would solve them, and we'd start to look at, what do you notice? What patterns can we find in this? Through that, we'll identify patterns, make statements and conclusions about the patterns, test them out, justify them, and then test those ideas on other operations. Does our idea work for subtraction, multiplication, division, or is it a rule that stands only for addition? Through these tasks, students will understand operations, identify patterns, give justifications for why things work, and analyze if these rules apply to other operations. As you can see here, the students here would identify a pattern with addition, and then analyze, does it work for subtraction, multiplication, and division as well. One of the final components I'll be talking about is one of the most important components in math this year. That is having students have a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the idea that math abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. This is understanding that all students have the ability to learn grade level math if taught the correct way. I'll be working with all students to understand that they can achieve the highest ability math in our classroom through perseverance, celebrating mistakes, and going through struggles. It's important that students learn not to give up when math gets tough, but to struggle through those hard times and create mistakes and learn from our mistakes, because that's when learning really happens. If you have any questions throughout the year about math in third grade, feel free to contact me. You can either call me at 952-431-8360. I'm available in my classroom to reach me by phone when the office is open and students are not in session. So between 8 and 9 a.m. and around 3:45 to 4 o'clock p.m. You can email me at any time of the day with my email address there, or contact our district and school website and find our class webpage from there. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me, and I look forward to a great third grade year with you and your students this year, exploring math in multiple different contexts and making math engaging, learning, and fun.